Hello everybody and welcome to my new video. I just wanted to say to you hello and stuff, and I know it's been a while since I've done a video. This video is just an update for my subscribers, all 7 of you. Okay, the last video I uploaded was the W.E.B.N fireworks, and I'll explain to you what that is in a minute. I just want to tell you about random things that's been going on in my life. So if you don't want to watch this video, I understand. But, let's see, what's been going on? Okay, about a week ago, and, okay, before I tell you this, I just want you to know that, I'm not really comfortable talking about this, because, you know, to me it was a little bit embarrassing, but I have to tell you, and there's a funny story that goes along with it, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. About a week ago, I went to the doctor because I have a problem with my liver, is what I think it's called. I think that's what causes it. From what I was told is, my liver does not function 100% properly, and or at least that's what I've heard that they think it might be. I get really bad abscesses on my leg because, you know, basically the way it was explained to me is because I put so much junk in my body, my liver cannot filter it all out at once. So before you sit there and go, ew, that's gross, are you nasty or something? No, I'm not. It's something I can't really help. But anyway, I had to go to the doctor because I had a really bad abscess. And for those of you who do not know what an abscess is, it's a huge infection pocket, and it usually comes to a head, but you can't drain it unless you cut it open. And sometimes even if you do cut it open, it still won't drain. So anyway, I had one of those huge ones on my legs, and finally I got tired of this because I've been dealing with this for a while. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm done with this. You know, go to the doctor and have them slice me, you know. And my mom and my dad especially, because he told me, Samara, I know it sounds like you could, you know, it don't sound like too big of a deal to you because you've never had something like that done. He said, but trust me, I know. And what he means by that is because whenever he was younger, he broke his hand. This is before he met my mother. He broke his hand and did not go to the doctor for it. He thought, you know, I'd just put some tape around it and call it good. Well, where he broke his hand and didn't go to the doctor for quite some time, it turned black. And then when he did have to go to the doctor, by the time they got to it, he set up gangrene. And for those of you who don't know what that is like a very, 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 very dangerous infection. So they had to cut open his whole entire arm and scrape the gangrene out and put pins in his hands, put pins in his arm and his hand, and then sew it back up. But the difference was they couldn't give him pain medicine for some reason. And for those of you who sit there and say, oh, that's not true, that wouldn't be true, it is, because we come from a very small town. But anyway, he told me, he said, I've had this done. He said, you won't like it. He said, I know right now you're thinking it'll make you better, but he said, I'm just letting you know now it's a huge deal. And I was like, well, okay, yeah, whatever. So I go into the doctor's office, and I feel so sorry for this poor girl. She is sitting in the emergency room with a bone sticking out of her ankle. And her ankle is swelled up, and she's in there crying, and my mother, she's very squeamish, and she's sitting there like, oh my gosh, I'm like, Mom, just don't look, call it good, just don't look. And, you know, I know this sounds cruel, but when you see something like that, you can't help but look at it, like, oh my gosh. I was sitting there praying in the waiting room for this poor girl, and what was amazing is, I couldn't believe this. They made her walk back there so she could sign in to the hospital so she could admit herself, and they made her walk back there and everything. They did not give her a wheelchair. They made her walk with a bone sticking out of her ankle. Oh my gosh. And then after she goes back there, a little boy comes in. Apparently, from what we heard, was that he was on a swing and he jumped off the swing and he's barefooting me. and he landed on a shovel and cut his foot wide open. So he's bleeding all over the waiting room, and my mother's just getting more and more squeamish. And this poor baby, he is just crying, and I'm sitting there trying to pray for him too, that poor baby. And finally, they get him calmed down a little bit, and they take him back there. And finally, when they call me back there, now I know that I shouldn't be making a joke out of this, but that's just me. I have to joke about everything. This younger man, about my age, comes and calls me back. And I put on shorts specifically so I wouldn't have to wear one of them hospital nightgowns. But apparently, I should have thought ahead. It's never simple at the doctor's. But this man calls me back there. My parents start to go back there with me, but then my mom and dad stop because they know what's getting ready to happen. He closes this curtain behind him, and he looks at me, and he says, "Take off your shorts." And I was like, "What?" And then I had to stop. I'm like, "No, it's okay. He's a doctor." Then he leaves the room. I'm like, "Okay, even better." So, I do what I have to do, and I put on this hospital nightgown, and I'm just sitting there, and I've got a curtain between me and another woman, and she apparently is having the same procedure done to her stomach. Well, there's a man that comes in there, and a doctor, and I show him on my leg where it's at, and he's like, and it's already pretty sore, so he's over there touching it and hurting me pretty bad, and I'm just sitting there like, So then he looks at me and he says, "Okay, we're going to drain it." And I'm like, "Good, just stop touching me," because it hurts. Well, and then I get nervous because I didn't think about this. They're actually going to be sticking a knife in my leg, So I had to keep myself calm, or at least try to. This woman comes in there and she makes me lay flat down on the bed, and she jams my leg in an awkward position. And then I make my dad, hold my hand, because usually things like this don't bother me. I mean, you can give me a shot, it won't bother me. Draw blood from me, don't care. But this just kind of freaked me out. Well, I am, death gripping his hands, and he's, trying to hold my head down like this so I won't look up. So he's actually trying to hold my head like that so I won't actually look up and watch what she's doing to me. She sticks this needle in the center of this abscess, and I thought that I was going to pass out because it hurt so bad. And then eventually it goes numb, and I'm like, okay, well, this ain't so bad. And then she's like, I see my mother, I look at my mother, all the color has gone out of her face, and she grabs the leg, my foot, that is on the same leg that they're working on. And this nurse, she looked over at my mother, "Ma'am, do you need to sit down?" My mother about passed out, but what I didn't know is, because I couldn't feel it, is that she had already cut my leg open, and she had a pair of scissors stuck inside my leg. So far, that the only thing that was sticking out, I have a pair of scissors right here, I'll show you. Of course, her scissors were, bigger than this, but the only thing, there's about 3-inch long scissors. The only thing sticking out is these, things that you hold on to by, you stick your fingers through. It's the only thing sticking out. So my mother's seen that, and I didn't. And so my mother's already squeamish, and she's like, "Oh my gosh." I was like, "Mom," I said, "go before you pass out." She's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, go. I got 10, it's okay." Well, then the nurse does what she needs to do, puts the packing in, puts the Band-Aid over it, and leaves the room. Then I get discharged and stuff. I look at my mother, my poor mother. I was about passed out. She had to go sit in the car. She was just so woozy. And, if that ain't bad enough, they tell me to change the gauze patch they have on it every single day, of course. What makes this bad is, my mother, she's squeamish. So, I had to have my dad help me because the wound was stuck to the Band-Aid, or the gauze, and it hurt really bad. So he had to, help me gently pull it off my leg. So, and this goes on for days, and finally, one night, my mother, we didn't mean to, but it seems like every time I went to go change my packing, she was right there. And it just kept freaking her out, and she just kept getting sick. Well, finally, one night, she did almost pass out because the packing was actually coming out. It was stuck to the Band-Aid, and if I took it off, the packing was just going to come straight out. Which was, they said that would happen, but my mother looked down at this wound, and she was like, "Oh my gosh," So we finally get all this taken care of, and now that my packing was out, I had to wait for the hole in my leg to close up. Now, the hole I had in my leg was about that big. And, I mean, it don't seem too bad, but it was kind of painful, So finally, I get this thing fixed up. But anyway, point is, my wound is it's completely closed up now, and it's better now, so yeah. Now, for those of you who don't know, what getting something lanced is like, it's kind of like, you know, sticking a pair of, get my scissors again, it's like sticking a pair of these in a very sore and tender spot and sticking them all the way in. Yeah, and then getting something that's sticking inside of that. So, yeah, that's what it's like. But I'm better now, thank God. But the funny story I had to tell was about this. Is like, I got so scared, and you can't tell now because I've trimmed my nails. I used to have really long nails, and they weren't fake, they were real. I grow my nails out sometimes. I had, like, these really long nails, and the way I was holding my dad's arm, because I was scared to death, you know, especially when she went to go give me the shot inside my abscess to numb me, I grabbed my dad's arm so tightly, I almost brought blood on him because my nails dug into his arm. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. That's my little funny story. It wasn't too funny, but whatever. Now, about the W.E.B.N fireworks, we've been knowing that they've been coming out. What that is, see, okay, first off, I live in Cincinnati. I'm not from here, but I live here now, and I've lived up here for 5 years. And since like 2 years ago, I've been going to a event called the W.E.B.N fireworks, and what that is it is where a radio station gets together with some fireworks salesmen, and the station's called W.E.B.N. The frog. It's got a big frog for its little mascot. And they throw this big, it's called the Last Blast of Summer. It's called Riverfest. Anybody around Cincinnati area knows it. So they have this huge fireworks show, and over there on the Big Mac Bridge next to the skyline, they dump this, they just make these fireworks look like a waterfall coming off of the bridge. And it's really beautiful. Now, the rule is up here, you don't drive to the fireworks because there is so many people going. It's just difficult to drive through there and get there and park and get back to your car, so you always walk. And where I live is really close to where they have it, so it's about a mile, and that's about it. But this year I couldn't walk down there, so I walked to a faraway area where I could still see them. That's where I've got such a crappy video of the fireworks. I tried, but... But what made it funny this year is that we were having a hurricane. Hurricane Isaac was coming through here while the fireworks were going off. They never cancel fireworks for anything. So we went anyway. So there I am standing out in the rain in a clear poncho, which, by the way, does not work, and I'm getting wet. My mom and dad are getting soaking wet and everything, and so am I. And we're standing out there with the video camera, the phone getting wet. You know, we're standing out there like, you know, trying to get a good shot of these fireworks, but there's a big tree in the way, so, yeah. And another event that ties into this is that my aunt had to go on a business trip to San Francisco, California. And the night of the fireworks was the night that she arrived here, because she was going to stay here and then go to the airport here the next morning. And so she's been in San Francisco for this past week, and she's going to be coming back Sunday, I think. And she's been having a blast. We don't usually travel that much. I mean, we've been to certain places a lot. Like, we go down to the Smoky Mountains in South Carolina a lot, go to Myrtle Beach a lot. But as far as, you know, traveling all the time, we don't do that. But she finally gets to, you know, she got to get out of the house. I'm like, great, you know, if she stays in that house any longer, the house will grow to her. So she's just, you know, she's been sending me clip and picture after picture after video of her trip in San Francisco. So I'm going to be putting that up on my YouTube account. And I'm not sure what all of them are, you know, so I'm going to have to ask her so I can tell you all what they are. So, yeah. But she got some nice video and some nice pictures of Alcatraz, of the Golden Gate Bridge, of Chinatown, I think. I think she got the picture. Anyway, and of the trolley and stuff like that. But, yeah, she's having a good time. So that's about what's been going on in my life right now. Also, what's been going on in my life, we had a loss in my family. My sister's husband, first off, my sister's name is Melissa, not Jeremy. and my sister's husband's name is Jeremy. So Melissa and Jeremy were at the house a couple nights ago, at their house, and a policeman walks up, knocks on the door, and tells them that Jeremy's mother has been found deceased, and they need them both to go down there and identify the body. Now, that is never pleasant for nobody, and I feel so bad for Jeremy, and my sister too. They had to go down there and ID the body separately, and you know, it was her, unfortunately, and you know, they're having all these problems and stuff, so if you all don't mind, please pray for my sister, and please pray for my brother-in-law, Jeremy, you know, because that's an awful thing to lose somebody. So, that's also what's been going on in my life, but, I've got a question. I want you to answer it in the comment section. Tell me. Actually, I've got two. What's been going on in your life lately? And, what else? The other question is there an annual event, a yearly event that you love going to in your hometown? Because I don't know where you're from. You might be in Decatur. You might be in Atlanta. You might be in Tallahassee. You might be in Manhattan. You might be in, you know, Los Angeles. I don't know. So tell me, what is an annual event, yearly event that you go to, or at least try to go to every year? Tell me what it is, and tell me why you like it so much. Well, that's my update for my subscriber, and I hope that you all stay blessed, and I hope you all be good. Bye.